What if I told you that giving your kid money would be ruining their future? Or that your Tesla gets a bigger tax break than your toddler? Would you believe me if I said more and more dads are staying at home while their wives become the breadwinners? And faith, not finance, is what people are turning to during an economic crisis. This isn't a far-fetched story. This is a new normal in America. And today, we're pulling back the curtain on what's really happening with your money, your family, your faith in 2025. So we're going to be talking about the rise of DINKs. Interesting show here today. DINKs, dual income, no kids. Smart financial move or societal red flag? Why parents are going broke to support their grown children? Why electric vehicles get better tax breaks than babies? Why being a father might be the secret weapon to saving America, and how your faith might be the best financial advisor, insurance professional you've never paid for. Welcome to the 7 Figure Squad podcast, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Let's get this money. Euros, dollar bills, getting this on out of here. Let's get this money.
What's cracking, everybody? Mighty smart guy, Matt Sapaula here, hailing to you from Dallas, Texas, and welcome back to another episode of the 7 Figure Squad podcast. Joining me in the studio today is my business partner here, relocating from Rancho Cucamonga, now to Dallas, Texas, Mr. Curtis Eatmon, man. Welcome back to the podcast, big dog.
Thank you for having me again.
I'm glad you're here, man. So, you got to tell me, man, we've been here in Dallas now for, 4 years now?
Like a blink, right?
Bam.
Bam. So quick.
Our first lease is almost done.
Wow.
You're right.
Wow. It's crazy because I feel like we've been in 3 different spots, right? We were in.
Expanded, right?
It's so quick.
Yeah. Boom, 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 right? And our teams get growing. Our teams keep growing. You've got your own night now. So we have Tuesday night workshops, Wednesday night workshops. You're running your own workshops on Thursday.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a blessing.
And we all come back together on Saturday. So what have you learned so far about being a Californian in Dallas? We're not Californian Dallas. We're definitely keeping Dallas for sure. But what have you learned so far about your experience here?
I noticed that a lot of people that live in Texas today are not from Texas.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah. Every time I meet somebody, I'm like, where are you from? Well, I'm a transplant. I come from either California too, or I come from New York, or I come
Chicago.
from Chicago, like yourself, Idaho, whatever it may be. I'm like, really? What brought you here? Family, or business, or whatever it may be. Oh, what's happening in Dallas? Everything's growing, a lot of opportunity here. I'm like, okay, excited. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting, the conversations that are happening today.
Yeah.
And it is really having, I guess you would say, new communities being created. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. We love Dallas.
It's a big reason why I started the Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey events.
Mm-hmm. And that's blowing up, by the way. Congratulations.
Amen. God is good. It's to get people together.
Yeah.
Because it's different than your typical networking event, because usually people go there and shaking hands, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But when people come to a paid event to mastermind and network, it becomes its own community and stuff. It's attracting an upscale, elevated type of professional entrepreneur. Right. So that being said, guys, let's check out this quick recap video from our last Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event. Let's check it out. Boom. Welcome to Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey. Business by marketing and branding and following the right partnerships in 07, 08, 09, and exploded my business. Experienced person is a valuable asset and a dependable player on your team. At the very least, you want to have a business partner, or you want to recruit somebody into your team that has some form of experience. Appreciate you guys, man.
This is my first time ever attending, and this is by far one of the most mind-blowing experiences so far, and it's only an hour in.
Anytime you get to level up and meet like-minded individuals that are trying to grow and just expand their networks, that's what you find when you're here. And also the wisdom that you get from Matt is it's great.
Just being around Matt, being around the people that he brings in, that is honestly could change your life overnight.
Everybody's social, welcoming. Everybody's want to genuinely get to know what you're trying to do. All right, so it's good, welcoming environment.
It's really motivating, and especially Matt being a Marine. I'm a former Marine. Bringing energy on in here. Definitely a lot of energy.
It's actually my first time, and I'm looking at this billboard here, thinking that, you know what, I may need to book a section because I'm seriously trying to see how I can grow my business and network more, so I can get myself out there.
So if you'd like to be part of our next Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event, go to cigarswealthandwhiskey.com and join the waiting list. Next event's coming up here in June, so make sure you are on a waiting list to make sure you get the first dibs to our early bird discounted rates when we first send it out. And by the way, I'm recreating the Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey. I've got some projects ahead that's going to really increase the brand value and excitement experience for everybody that attends. But they say, right, Curtis, your network is your net worth.
They do.
And so when we're looking at family, we're looking at people and understanding them from a financial perspective. What have you learned so far? I'm just curious. What have you learned so far from the many, many years that you've been now in financial services? You're not a spring chicken no more. You made multiple six-figure year income over and over and over again. But what have you learned about your career when you first started compared to where it's at today?
Yeah, I think for me, is what worked 10 years ago won't work today.
Like what?
Like in regards to understanding like who you're sitting across from, right? And you'll hear people's conversation about what their financial structure was. I'm gonna just use my 401k. I'm gonna use my pension. I'm gonna use my savings, and that's what I'm gonna rely on. And that's not working anymore. And more people today are starting to figure that out. And so what I mean by that is that a lot of different philosophies when it comes to wealth building or wealth acceleration or asset protection has been shifting. And a lot of people today are more open with the conversation and learning more about the rules of money than ever. In
the Black community, oftentimes people talk about, funeral and bake sales and car washes. Yeah, what have you experienced as a leader of your family in your community? What have you experienced about some misconceptions you've now dispelled by being in the business world? Because not only learning for yourself, but also the case studies of the clients you're working with.
Yeah, I mean, it's been this whole deal like, well, we're the number one consumers, which is a true statement, right? If you look on the list of consumers,
the black and brown community,
we buy everything, right? And then also we can look at the median income as well. We're last on the list on the black community at least. And then, but when you start,
as black community, Latino community. Right.
Yeah. When you see that, it's like, oh, interesting. So for me, profitability is just a report card to the value you bring to the community.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, how can we change that? Because I know we bring value.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's not even a question. It's like, gifts, talents, ability. So how can we shift the mindset when it comes to finances? That's why we do the workshops we do consistently, publicly and privately as well. And so I'm seeing, again, more than anything, that more people in the community are saying, I'm tired of not knowing. I'm in the position now where I cannot afford not to know anymore.
Yeah.
So I need to learn about the rules of money. So I'm no longer taken advantage of, because I have no problem learning how to make the money and working hard for the money, but I want to know what to do with the money when I have it in my hand.
It's interesting that this month is the kickoff to Financial Literacy Month. April is Financial Literacy Month every year.
Yeah.
And how many people are financially illiterate? I mean, think about this, Curtis.
Good point.
Think about illiteracy. Just look at that word. Forget financial. Just think about the word literacy.
Okay.
Imagine living in a world you can't read.
Oh, wow.
You can't write. Right? You don't know how to speak your mind.
Sound like slavery.
But think about it. Somebody telling you a text. What did they send me? Read it for me. Right? Hey, write this for me. And how do you know they're saying the right things? Like I felt that when we were overseas and we had translators.
Wow.
Right? We had people speaking a different language to translate to our enemies and the friends of our enemies what we want to communicate. And we're wondering, just based on body language, if what we communicated to them was actually what we wanted them to say.
Right.
Or did they kind of throw in their little spin? Because we wouldn't know.
Right.
That's illiteracy. So speaking to your enemy, you don't even know if what's being translated to your enemy through a translator is the truth that and the reality that you want to experience.
Right.
So if you're financially illiterate, so many people can just put the blinders on you, pay this mortgage, pay this rent, pay this credit card, not save for retirement. I mean, you talk about in your workshops, the three biggest things that people buy in our country: a house, a car, and the education. Yeah, and do people buy these three things cash?
No, they're definitely borrowing.
And when you borrow, it means you pay more than what you originally borrowed.
Yeah. And I hate to say it this way, but we always have this concept, me and my wife, we say we never buy anything, on the regular price because only fools pay a full price.
That's right.
Yeah, everything's on discount. You just gotta negotiate, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But here's the problem though. You go into Louis store, you go to Gucci store, nothing's on sale, bro.
That's true.
You go to a high-end restaurant, nothing's on sale,
And we can always tell if you bought it from China.
Especially like hair and stuff like that. But,
Yeah, well, I was playing.
so when you're thinking about money and finance, guys, I'm glad you are watching the 7 Figure Squad YouTube and the 7 Figure Squad podcast, because it's about getting to a financial position of cash flow millionaire from a faith-based standpoint, looking at money from a biblical perspective. Let's talk about our first subject here: the rise of dinks, dual income, no kids.
What a word!
Fortune reports that dinks, dual income, no kids, are on the rise. Couples are choosing freedom over fatherhood, vacations over values, and here's the catch: more money doesn't always mean more meaning. What do you think about this phenomenon?
I think it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think about, I have 4 kids myself, and just to think about life without them.
What a thought.
Oh, could you imagine? Like, you have 5 children, right? I'm not gonna. You're gonna beat me on that one forever. I think.
You're not gonna match me on the leaders' bulletin.
I think I'm gonna let you win on that one, right? But just to think of my 17-year-old, my 12, my 10, my 3-year-old, and not having a hug by them, not being embracing when I come home from a long day of work, not going to their their workshops that they got going on themselves, their sporting events their banquets and everything else, and just I couldn't imagine life without that. So those that are not experiencing that, I think you're missing the color of life.
Well, Curtis, somebody said, well, I can have that without a man. I can have that without a woman. What would you say to that?
I don't know if it's going to be as pure as you think it is. There's a reason why it's available. The reason why someone had you. So when you don't have children, you're not producing you. What are you going to leave behind after you? That's the question on that. Now, again, there's their right choice. I know a lot of people don't have kids. There's nothing wrong with that. You can adopt, or you can. There's a lot of things. But some people say my what's called my dog, my cat, or my kids. That's fine too, as well, right? But for me, it's just the mindset of building leaders. Because if you have children, you're building leaders. Yeah, and you're gonna build them to contribute to the next culture, the community, and ultimately the country that you represent. So, couldn't imagine not adding value in that way for what I can control, at least.
Yeah, I mean, the purpose of marriage is to grow a family. Pastor Dudley was in that chair just a few weeks ago talking about God's design was husband and wife.
Felt the Holy Spirit here.
Amen, bro. He said, coming through with, right?
Yeah.
So husband and wife raising a child together. But the wife's husband and wife, which is the mom and dad, the grandparents, so 6 total, was supposed to be raising a child. Because village creates wealth. And, we said that wealth is more than just finance.
Has to be.
And if you are thinking long term, if you're thinking the legacy game, so let me ask you this question. Knowing what you know now, would you have waited to have kids till you're in your 40s, or would you have had kids in your 20s and 30s like you did?
Ooh, what a question.
Because it may be dual income, no kids now.
It's true.
Temporarily. But they might be dual income with kids in their late 40s.
And I've seen it work out well for both ways.
Yeah.
I've seen it work out where you had the kids young, and now, you're empty nester, you travel and do what you want to do in your late 40s, your 50s, you're good, right?
Yeah.
Your kids are already out. And then I see the other way as well. You wait until later, you have your career established, but now you give your kids a different life. Because you can financially really support them effectively.
Yeah, like you see Gaitan's having kids now. You see Pelayo's having kids now. Vargas is having kids now. Not a financial worry in their lives.
Not at all. They can do whatever they want. They can say no because their kids are bad, not because they can't really do it.
For me, if I had a choice, bro, I think I would have waited. I think I would have waited because, for that reason, because I would have more access to options, and I would have said yes to my kids more than no. In my 20s now, flip side to that is I had more energy in my 20s.
That's the only thing I think about, because I'm gonna spend, like, today is my oldest birthday. She's 17 today.
Okay.
But last week I had a 2-year to turn 3.
Okay.
So I get 2 ends of the spectrum. I'm like, I had a lot more energy with you, right, than I have with you. This 3-year ones are running around the whole house all day. I'm like, oh God.
I want one solution for that, bro. Yoga.
Really?
I promise you, bro. I'm doing yoga once a week now, man. Up, down, dog, cobra, chair pose, prayer twist, left, prayer twist. I can't tell how good it's been for my body to be flexible and mobile.
Flexibility is different. Yeah.
2 things happened this weekend. So Pastor B asked me to take a team picture with his team.
Okay.
So I got down on my knees. Bro, I couldn't do that. 4 years ago. Just without my knees. It's getting excruciating pain. I'm getting no problem now. At the graduation this weekend, boom, they're putting the thing over my head. I got down on my knees and I look at the guy, the chancellor. I said, "This is the benefit of yoga." She's a short lady putting my thing over my.
That's respect. I did hot yoga once.
That's what I do. Hot yoga.
And I felt like I met the finish line. I said, "Jesus, I'm coming to see you clearly," because I never felt so dehydrated in my life. But much respect to you on that.
But that's energy. Money is energy, and energy is money.
That's true.
So my son's 6 now. Obviously, like she's rising now in her age. You're gonna get a lot of energy, bro. So
yeah,
we gotta hustle. You're right.
Facts. But yeah, to answer your question, waiting definitely positions you to have more support. And I think that's what the key is, right? Having the support, having the staff, having the resources to be able to do the things you want to do, to develop them at the maximum level.
Yeah.
And I think when you start a little bit early, you're not financially, I guess you would say, with the income that you need to do that, then there's a lot more stress. This hair didn't go away for no reason.
I remember your hair. I think about that too. Is my 20s, I wasn't fully thinking properly of what a relationship should be, a marriage should be like. It wasn't until I got in church, it wasn't until I found Proverbs 31.
There we go.
That a Proverbs 31 woman was revealed. That's my checklist. Like, God, what's my checklist
more
for
precious
my wife?
than rubies. You got one of that for sure. We both
Praise
do.
God.
Aren't we blessed?
Our wives, right?
Yeah, aren't we blessed?
Hey, shout out to our wives. Right?
Yes.
But when I look at that, so if I want to track a Proverbs 31 woman, I also have to be a Proverbs 31 man.
Mm-hmm. You better be.
Because inside that Proverbs, it said, listen, her husband sits amongst kings.
That part.
Not amongst peasants.
That part. Hello.
Right? So I want to make sure I'm sitting amongst kings, man, if I want to attract a Proverbs 31 type woman, right? And so, by the way, if you guys want to know more about that, I've got a video right here for you guys to check out, a Proverbs 31 woman, because we did a breakdown in Proverbs in our Wealth and Wisdom series. Next segment here. Wall Street Journal says 45% of parents are still supporting adult children financially. Not 18-year-olds, not college kids, full-grown adults. Ooh. We're talking rent, we're talking car payments and vacations. But here's the kicker. Some of these parents are tapping into their retirement accounts to do it.
Yeah.
So are we helping our kids launch their lives, or are we just cushioning them for lifelong dependence? What you think?
Yeah, you're definitely not preparing them to be leaders in that sense.
They're leaders. They're leading on your mom and dad.
Yeah. I mean, and what do you mean by full grown? Like, what age is full grown? What's the perspective?
I think full grown is 18.
18. So starting at 18, I'm just really actually shocked by the stat of, that's almost 1 out of 2.
1 out of 2 parents.
So what is that really showing is that way that we raise that segment of parenting is clearly not working. Those principles didn't work out very well if you're having 1 out of 2 are dependent.
This is the Gen Z generation. Gen Z, early millennials, right? Younger millennials. I tell you this, my 29-year-old, fully sustainable on his own. My twin girls, 23, fully sustainable on their own. And so I basically told them, listen, if you don't want to follow dad's rules, you got to follow your own rules.
Yeah.
If you want to follow your own rules, that means your own rules are out of this house, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You join the military, you go to school, I'll help you through school, or you get a job. And so they want to say, no, I'm going to do my own thing. Well, you're doing your own thing, then you can stay here, pay rent, or I'd be happy to have you here, or you do your own thing. So they chose to leave. Right?
Okay.
So they chose, okay, no problem.
But they're fully sustainable, though.
But guess whose choice that was?
Theirs.
It was theirs. The home is always open to them, but they chose to leave. Well, kudos to them, respect to them.
Yeah, I think it's okay if the parent give a safety net. Like, you're not gonna let your kid and be
all
in the
day.
gutter and like that. But
All day.
But to be paying like to provide for them after 18.
As they're still kids?
Yeah, that's not okay. Yeah, that's not okay. That means you haven't prepared, you haven't trained them up to be independent. You
That's
haven't, and because to me, it should pour over. The parent raises again the child from 0 to 18 or whatever. They get married and then they leave in Cleveland. That's fine.
Yep.
But then the kid is supposed to eventually take care of the parent.
How many times have you sit across the kitchen with a client who isn't saving money for retirement because they're helping their kid through school? And when I share this because I talk to clients because I'm looking out for their best interest, not necessarily my bank account. And I tell clients, listen, when are you going to allow that child to grow up on their own? Because while you're not allowing to grow up on their own, guess what's costing you? It's costing you financial security for you down the road.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowing any of your money to grow over time. So therefore, down the road, you have more money over time.
Right.
But you're like, well, my baby. I know you're a baby, but you're a 21-year-old baby.
Not a baby anymore.
I totally get it. Biblically speaking, 2 Thessalonians 3 verse 10 says, if a man will not work, he shall not eat.
Yeah.
Boom. Enough said.
The key is work.
Earn it. How are they earning it? If they're not earning it, then guess what's going to happen? They feel entitlement.
Yes.
You're going to feel entitlement to expect it. The different levels of giving.
Oh, isn't like 5 of them or something like that? Yeah.
Toxic giving. So here are 5 stages of destructive gift giving. Number 1, the first gift you give creates appreciation.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The person thanks you and truly appreciates receiving a gift from you. Appreciate that. Second one, as mom and dad is doing, second gift creates anticipation. Now, there's no assurance as a gift is, it's out of the goodness of your heart.
Right.
But now they're like, okay, now they're around. Are they going to give me a gift? Right? It's my birthday again. Are they give me a gift? Are they going to give me a gift? Just by the way, I stopped selling my birthday a long time ago. There came to a point where, as a grown adult, my birthday became every day.
There you go.
Not one day a year. It's my birth month. It's my birthday. Well, you're a child. Probably because people never had any recognition growing up.
Yeah.
And maybe as an adult, that's how they're expressing it. They want attention. They want expression. This is my day. This is my week, my month. Sure. But you ought to not, and by the way, this is our philosophy too as well. We don't celebrate holidays outside of the main ones. We don't celebrate, President's Day, and every day should be Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Every day should be Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Every day should be Christmas. Every day should be New Year's. Every day should be your birthday.
Yes.
Right? You're not guaranteed the next day. So why treat any other day more important than the other?
I agree.
That's our philosophy.
I agree. 100% agree. Yeah. I mean, I think it was said is if you consistently do what everyone's doing, right? Then that's probably the wrong way to go in the first place.
That's right.
Right. So if the majority of people are all doing that, and I think it was even better said, I think it was probably by you, is that professionals play on holidays.
Oh yeah.
While everybody's relaxing, that's when you work.
Professional work on holidays at restaurants.
Yeah.
In the movie theaters.
That's when the most money is made. Right. So
the first one is appreciation. Second one is anticipation. Third, gift giving creates expectation. Like, how come no gift?
That's
right?
Yeah.
You come around again, it's my birthday, is no gift. Christmas again, no gift. Fourth one, entitlement. You come around, I'm expected to gift, bro. Come on. I'm one of your guys. Entitlement.
That's scary.
So you've gone through appreciation. Now you go into a deserve it mentality.
It's so funny. I was on IG, and it was something about this kid. He just turned 26 years old, and he took his dad to court. Took his dad to court, and the judge is asking. He said, "Why are we here?" Well, why are you suing your dad for $60,000? And he responds back. He says, "Because my dad told me that if I go to school, if I do sports, if I do these different things, there'll be great rewards."
That's
and
nice.
Now I'm 26. There hasn't been any rewards.
No. You're 26?
26 years old. And
Don't
he said
grow
it'd
up,
be
bro.
rewards. I was like, well,
Grow up.
but that's the entitlement you're talking
right,
about.
that's right.
Yeah. He's like, he owes me rewards because I did good in school, because I did good in sports. He didn't get. Now I'm going to sue you $60,000 because of that. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, I want to celebrate.
Yeah.
You ought to.
Of course.
Celebrate your wins.
Nothing wrong
But
with
not
that.
to the point where it's gotten now toxic. It went from appreciation, anticipation, expectation, entitlement. Do you know what the last one is?
No.
Dependency.
Ooh.
What we're talking about right now.
Now you created a kid.
That's right. Great kid.
Yeah.
Not only is there zero appreciation, but this person also demands what is rightfully his or hers, just like we were talking about.
Demands it though.
Demands it.
That's scary.
And now they know they're being controlled and manipulated.
Huh.
That person is giving. They're being controlled. They're being limited, but they will not turn. They're not going to turn off that pipeline for that kid for some reason, some toxic reason why they don't. Maybe they feel when they're giving and they get that attention, although it being negative, at least they get attention.
Oh.
It's like the reverse when kids do bad in school just because they want attention.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes it's the parents' way of saying, I don't want to let you go, baby. I still want attention from you. That's why I still pay. Maybe it might be that. I don't know. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze it too much, but
Very interesting. But I mean, there's something to look at. 45% is not a small number.
no, not at all.
I mean, something's wrong here, clearly.
What do y'all think?
Yeah.
What age do you think parents ought to have their kids 100% sustainable and responsible for themselves? What age? 18, 19, 20? Put in the comment section below.
Yeah.
Next segment. Market Watch recently pointed out that Americans get bigger tax breaks for buying an electric vehicle than they do for raising children. So you get reward for going green, but not for growing a human being. So, Curtis, what message do you think the IRS is sending to America?
Well, they're not solving for leaders in the future because strong families definitely contribute to producing leaders. So compensation wise, they're saying that I don't think kids matter that much. We think a car matters more.
Electric cars matter, right?
And not even an electric one at that, right? So I think you said it the best. We're talking about this a little bit earlier. Get your 3 kids. Get your what's the tax deduction on 3 kids?
So here's the tax deduction. So you buy an electric vehicle, $7,500. So if you buy another electric vehicle, another $7,500, I presume. But you buy an electric vehicle, $7,500 for doing so. However, if you have a kid, based on the 1997 tax law of child tax credit, you have $2,000 per child. You have $4,000, you have 2 children. But if 3 children, 4 children, maximum is $4,000.
Maximum. Okay.
So $7,500 for EV, $4,000 if you have 2 kids for child tax.
But husband and wife, they both can have the tax deduction, or is it only one per couple?
If they're, it's a good question. If they're filing separate, maybe they can, if they're filing separate, if they're married filing jointly, 1.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you max out. I mean, you're looking at, if I'm you, I'm maxing out with the kids, and I'm getting the Tesla. Throw the kid
Put the baby seats in the Cybertruck.
Cybertruck 11,500. You good? All right, keep it going. If you file, that might be a good tax strategy. You file separately.
Today you're gonna go buy an EV. Go get a Tesla.
Get
some car seats.
Yeah. Now you're looking at almost $20,000 in tax deduction by getting a car and kids. Yeah, two whips. I mean, hey.
Listen, I'm not a big fan of electric cars at all. Zero. We were doing a podcast that in the first year of our podcast that Ford was creating special features inside his car that if you don't pay your car payment, they turn off the AC.
Someone could push the button on you?
Could you imagine you're full default on your payment and you're in repo mode? There's no need anymore for repo, man, because guess what that electronic car can do? It can just drive itself back to the damn repo lot.
That's scary. No, that's like a little scary.
It's like that movie, Leave the World Behind, when the Teslas were going crazy.
Yeah, and then they're becoming car bombs in essence.
That's right.
Yeah,
I don't want any control of any computer or satellite over my vehicle.
It's almost because didn't Elon just come out with a new car, or at least he is coming out with a new car where there's no steering wheel, like it's literally a taxi, it's gold car, right? And you just get in it and it takes you everywhere. It's supposed to replace Uber, it's supposed to replace everybody. And I just I wouldn't mind being driven around. I have no problem being driven around, but just be driven in something that I have no control over at all, even if I need to get control.
That's right.
That's I don't know if I'm at that level of trust yet.
Zero chance.
Yeah.
Zero chance of
I don't know how you feel about that. But
well, they're putting 18-wheelers that are self-driving trucks on
that's
18-wheelers
true
right now, because that's another level of apparently there's different levels of self-driving vehicles. Self-driving cars for the retail consumers at the very lowest. Vicina, our good friend, our business partners on the East Coast, Chris Vicina Hart. Vicina says she got disabled from using self-driving feature in her car because She put on self-driving, but she kept looking down at her phone for too many times, so it disabled her for a week. So they're trying to make sure the behavior is you might have it on self-driving, but you got to pay attention to the road. So my question then, what's the point of self-driving car if you can't, night rider it?
Yeah. You really don't have control. Someone's watching you, always watching you. Huh?
So most people think this is a massive disconnect in policy. It's saying that the kids are the future. However, the IRS seems to disagree. And when we go deeper into this, the situation with helping people understand, our next topic here is fatherhood. Nobel Prize winning economist Claudia Golden told the Financial Times that if we want to fix declining birth rates, we need to first glorify fatherhood.
Yes, I agree.
Not just tolerate it, glorify it. So fathers aren't optional accessories. Fathers are anchors. And if we want a stronger nation, it starts in the home. What do you think about that?
Oh, I believe in it. That's all.
No bias there?
My whole mission on this is, bringing and inspiring strong families to produce strong leaders.
Yeah.
And definitely a father is a pillar in the household. Can't be replaced. And a mother can't be replaced either. But fathers don't get, at least, the media that I see on my algorithms, right? They're not getting, the expression or the recognition necessary. We see the negative side of things, but so I agree with this. I think it's big.
So let's go a little deeper. So when we talk about glorifying fatherhood, we're just not talking about glorifying feel-good family moments, which of course comes along for the ride.
Yeah.
Awesome. Along for the ride. But we're also talking about the future of entire nations. So here's the real world impact if we're not growing families or not growing kids and not having kids. So countries with more elderly population than babies are entering economic crisis mode. So Japan, I was stationed there for a year in Okinawa.
Okay.
Italy, a lot of people are leaving Italy.
Yeah.
And now even China are seeing their populations shrink and get older. So China, which punished families for having more than one kid. I mean, there was decades there where you can only have one kid. And then which child, boy or girl, which child do you think most families wanted to keep?
Definitely the boy, based on reproduction. First. Yeah.
That's right. And so the daughters are either in orphanages, because you only have one kid, either in orphanages or they're adopted.
Wow.
So they're shipped away, sadly. And so now you got 20, 30 years of Chinese men who go to a club and it's, it's a sausage factory. You know what I mean? It's like, where's the girls?
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of the Chinese men are leaving China to come to America, go to different countries to find a spouse.
So they find a spouse, they bring them back to China? Or?
Yeah, that's the plan.
They're
finding a way to immigrate and petition for immigration to leave China.
So that's a bad policy agenda that didn't work out very well.
On China's end, yeah.
Yeah.
And so now China is literally paying their citizens to become fathers. They realize too late that family isn't just cultural, bro. It's economic, because fewer fathers, think of this. Fewer fathers, fewer kids. Fewer kids, smaller workforce. Smaller workforce, watch this now, higher taxes, weaker economies, and then we talk about family, broken legacies.
Wow.
Because you don't have a talent pool anymore to pull from.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this. In the times of my favorite movie, Apocalypto.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Remember, they're getting up and they're just sleeping. Next thing they were attacked in the middle of sleep.
That's, man. Right.
And the sons were fighting with the fathers and the grandfathers.
Yeah.
Now think about this. If there's no father in there and there's no baby, so let's say the fathers get killed. What happens if there's no sons?
Over.
That's right. There's no level of warriors and farmers, and right. So you had to have a lot of kids, because when fathers show up, when we lead with purpose, presence, and provision, we build stronger homes, stronger kids, and stronger nations, baby. So hey man, the way I look at it, being a father just ain't financial, economic, or personal. It's daggone patriotic. If you want to make America, America.
That's it.
All right. If we want to make America our home, our country strong, a country we're proud of, consider having more babies, man.
Contribute.
The next segment here, financial regrets. Remember that tattoo? Financial regrets from parents. Business Insider interviewed older Americans about their biggest financial regrets during the parenting years. What do you think it was? And the thing is, they are regretting not teaching the kids early about money.
Wow.
Not setting boundaries, choosing short-term comfort over long-term clarity. So
Finances, huh?
So here's my question for you, bro.
Yeah.
When do kids get the iPad? When do kids get a cell phone?
Wasn't a report done that if you give a kid a cell phone, they're on social media in their teens, it's like giving a kid a cigarette.
Yeah, they got more dopamine hits.
Their minds can't process. Adults can barely process it.
Yeah.
Right. And whatever has your attention eventually has your currency.
Yeah.
Has your money. So it's interesting. I think it was another report done as well. I was looking at it. It was saying that what kids have to learn today, 16-year-olds today, they have to learn about AI today.
Yeah.
Where we never had to even think about any of that.
To us, AI was Allen Iverson.
100%. I need a crossover, baby. That's what I'm thinking of, right? You know, so now they have to think about all that blockchain and, you know, what's happening with crypto and everything else. So, yeah, teaching your kids about money early, teaching them the principle of money, right? Like, you know, so like, for example, my 3-year-old, she comes to me and she's on Tuesday morning, I let her know like, hey, I'm gonna watch you for a little bit and then I'm gonna go to work, right? That's our time to go play, right? And she never wants me to leave, right? So she never wants me to leave. And then so I have to like almost.
That's the worst, bro.
Yes, it's sad. She's like, no, I don't want you to leave. I want you to stay with me. I'm like, I can't stay, right? And she goes, why can't you stay? Like, it's a 3-year-old asking me, right? She goes, why can't you stay? I'm like, because I have to go make money.
Okay.
And she goes, oh, well, okay, bye-bye.
Take off. She knows the process.
She understands. And she goes, wait, before you leave, can I have money? Right? And so I'm like, okay, here's $1. And then she goes around and she goes, wow, $1. And she puts it in her pocket, right? And then she goes to her mom and she says, Mom, what can I buy with this $1?
She knows.
Yeah. Like, and so she knows the exchange because she watches her brother, she watches her sister, you know, and they see the power of it. So I think it's very, very important to teach your kids early because if they don't start respecting that money early, that their parents' money is not their money.
Yep.
All right. They got to earn it through allowance, whatever they're going to be doing.
Yep.
All right. That when they're older, that they'll make sure that it's going to accelerate because they understand the power of it.
This year, instead of giving our son Jojo a birthday or Christmas gift, we decided to open up a brokerage account.
I love it.
So we put $1,000 in brokerage account. Say, okay, going forward, what stocks you want to pick? Here are stocks. This is what these mean. These are things that grow in value. These are probably things that you buy. What are some of the things that you buy? I like wearing Nike. I like eating at Chick-fil-A. I like buying things on, we buy things on Amazon.
Right.
So guess what? We invested in the S&P 500, Vanguard, VOO. So guess what my son is doing now? Seeing his money grow. He's like, hey, Dad, did you check Nike stock today? 14-year-old asking about Nike stock.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you for asking about Nike stock. He's got an app downloaded on his phone. He doesn't have social media downloaded on his phone. He's got stock apps downloaded on his phone, checking stuff out.
That's great parenting, though. That's great father.
It's stuff I wanted to know when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing, especially on the subject of money. So think about this, parents. What were some of the subjects of money you wanted to learn as a parent? Write those down. Was it budgeting?
Right.
Was it buying a house? Was it credit?
Yeah.
Was it savings? Was it investing? Was it entrepreneurship? Put those down. And then for the rest of your life as a parent, from a financial standpoint, find ways to economically teach that to your kids.
So smart.
That's your formula. We've helped people identify leaks. I've had leaks.
Yeah. We all have.
And so, but once you find your leak, you got to plug it up. Otherwise, you sink with that leak. Speaking of sinking, let's talk about the modern house husband.
What?
House husbandry. So the Wall Street Journal recently showcased high-achieving women whose husbands are now stay-at-home dads. It's not about weakness, it's about strategy. Families are rethinking gender roles in the name of financial and emotional success. But here's a real question, Curtis. Are we empowering a new wave of support systems, or are we losing something deeper about masculine responsibility? Male responsibility.
I mean, this is the interesting one for me. The title, you lost me already.
House husband.
You lost. I have no problem with you going home and spending time with your kids.
Sure.
You know, but yeah,
Being
I think
the one that cook, cleans, takes out takes out the trash.
I have no problem. You take out the trash, and if you want to cook for your wife and your family,
laundry.
We hire somebody for that. No, but like masculine responsibility means you protect, you provide.
Bingo.
You know, you provide stability, you provide security, you provide the identity, the vision for the family. That's what you do. Now, I'm okay I mean, the fact is the facts. Women today are outpacing men financially, and they're going to inherit most of the wealth in the world. Like it is what it is, because men are going to pass away first, and the women are going to inherit most of that money. And so that's not the problem I have. The problem is the understanding of the man role for the family and how to lead the family and the contribution that they need to provide for it. Now, if they want to be a helpmate, to their wife, and they want to help because she's doing some laundry, want to help, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not taking that role. Like that's not. I'm taking
It could
that
be a chore
role.
for the day.
Yeah, like I'll help you out, because I see you stressed with the kids or something like that. But that's no, like.
All right, I have a question for you now.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you now. If you were a house husband, would you think Spring would marry you?
No, not at all.
Didn't have to think about it.
Not at all.
Spring, would you marry Curtis as a house husband?
Doesn't even compute. That doesn't even make sense. It's not even.
It's going to go back to Spring. Spring, what'd you think? Put it in the comment section, Spring.
Yeah. Well.
Seriously? She would not marry you?
No. Your wife wouldn't marry you either. There's a reason why we have, again, who we have. And I'm an alpha. She's an alpha, but she's a beta to me. Still at the same point.
That's right.
And we are very clear on our roles. She provides love, nurturing, and I have no problem if she end up making more money than me. We're not competing. The money still goes in the same pot.
Yeah.
We're contributing to the vision and our purposes.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about roles and my masculine role,
no. In addition to the couples we have in our company, that's showing that is a great example in our organization, which I appreciate. Our leaders in PHP, our leaders in the Mice Movement team, and showing that honor amongst couples. We just recently had Fawn Weaver.
Yes, it was great, man.
She came, the CEO, founder of Uncle Near's Whiskey. She came to our event, and is she not an alpha?
A super alpha.
She's a dog. She's a dog alpha, right?
Yeah.
But what did she do with her husband? When I asked her about her relationship with her husband, what did she do with her husband?
She melts for him. She says she's a beta to her husband, which makes sense. Yeah.
She plays a role that honors and respects her husband.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, by the way, he ain't no chump. He's an attorney. He's Sony Pictures and Entertainment.
Yeah.
So he's a well-to-do guy. He's a well-educated. He's a professional.
Yes.
He's a provider.
Yes.
He's a protector. His wife by the way, they co-founded Uncle Near's Whiskey. He decided not to take a CEO front role. He's a supportive role, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, one of his roles was calling all the initial counts of getting the whiskey, getting to the right gatekeepers.
Right.
Because the women in her sales team would not be getting called back. Remember in the interview?
Yes, I do remember that, yeah.
The women would not get called back to get their whiskey introduced to their stores or to the distributors.
Makes sense.
But when her husband, when Keith called, they would call him back. So weird in scenario in the whiskey business.
But I think it goes to your point is contribute, like, but you're very keyed in on what you're creating together.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between a help mate and a help wait.
And a house husband.
I mean, it still doesn't compute in my head, but like, but hey,
word today.
Yeah, but hey, a lot of people like to change some things up. Like, I think that might be a bad agenda that needed to be changed later on. I have some problems with that one.
I mean, imagine the guy. He gives the wife her lunch for the day, puts her coat on, kisses her as she leaves the door for work. His job is to get the kids ready, drop them off at school, get Starbucks after that, go do yoga, play video games all day, pick the kids up at 3, make dinner ready by the time she gets home. That's traditionally not a man's role.
No, that's definitely not tradition. Like, where's the work at?
I mean, I'm trying to be objective here. I just can't see myself doing that from an objective standpoint willingly.
And no, not at all. But like, I take the kids to school. I know you do too.
For sure.
I know you go to yoga. You like
once a week only.
But yeah, not just only that. Yeah, we would have to fix the roles there.
What do y'all think?
HR will have to come fix my
That's right.
my role sheet, my resume have to change.
House husband, or no house husband? Put in the comment section below. I want to know what you guys are thinking.
Very interesting.
Next topic here. Pew Research shows people are turning to their faith more than financial advisors and insurance professionals when the economy gets tough. Because sometimes scripture brings more peace than spreadsheets. Proverbs 21 verse 20 says, the wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down.
Wow.
It's not just wisdom, bro. That's some financial strategy. That's what I love about King Solomon.
Oh, you're going to love Ecclesiastes real quick.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
right.
Yes, in Proverbs. Definitely what it is.
So what's this whole, what's your opinion on this whole movement now? People's like, turning in faith. They're in tough times now. Now people are having to come to Jesus moment.
It's interesting because, I think it was said best by Samuel. He was saying a lot of people think that God is with them. But the real question is, are you with God?
Oh. Right.
So am I really aligned with God's alignment for me? Or do I just want God to align with me when I have a problem? Because
I want him to align with me, but I don't want to align with him. That's selfish, right?
Yeah.
It's not serving your God.
Yeah. So I think that if you are going through financial stress, and then the real question is, why are you going through financial stress? What decisions did you make that provides that consequence? And that you want maybe God to bail you out on that. And a lot of people use God as a magic trick, versus I'm serving you because you gave me a breath of life, you gave me purpose, and I want to complete your will. So I think the motive of the heart is the key point of this whole conversation. Is the motive of why are you reaching out in your faith? What's the motive for you driving towards that? Are you really trying to serve because of your faith? Or are you trying to just, hey, you just make this be okay, and I'm still going to do what I want to do after, and do it again. And because we always say faith without works is dead, but faith with works is life. And so if you are looking at again the strategy of someone that gulps again their food down, what are they really positioning themselves by creating ultimately? So I think it's a very interesting concept, because if more people are going towards faith or financial advisors, I love that. I have no problem with that, but it's just the motive of the heart. Why are you going that route, or why haven't you already had that as a foundation in the first place?
Yeah.
Well,
I've often said that in your worst of times, that's when God shows up and does his best work.
He does.
Not that he has been doing his best work already. It's just now that you allowed him to do his best work.
Yeah. Pain does create more, I guess you would say, opening year, right?
Yeah. When you're in the worst position, you're actually in the best position, because now your pride goes down, your humility shows up. It's the whole premise of my book, Faith Made Millionaire, because I thought I had it all figured out in my 20s. Stubborn. The worst part of stubbornness and making big decisions, big choices, is seeking a mentor after you've made a mistake. And you're like a lot of people they call you coach. People that call me coach. People call you mentor. People call me mentor. They come to me after they've already made the decision.
No, you're just notifying you then at that point, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, you're not processing things with me. You're just letting me know. You're informing me. And what do you want me to do? Right? You're just telling me to do what? You're looking for justification?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, at that point.
When I've learned to use a mentor the right way, and when I approach Patrick and say, PBD, every big decision I'm making, because I call you mentor, because I call you coach, here is how I'm going to approach a situation. I'm going to research it 3, 4, 5 times, find 3, 4, 5 solutions to do it. If those 3, 4, 5 things don't fix the problem, or I think it might,
right,
I'll process it with PBD. And PBD, he sees it. He sees I've done my homework.
Right.
I'm just not using him like Google.
There you go.
Right? Because I'm using a mentor to process an issue, just not to search something.
Right.
Sometimes people, hey, Matt, what's the address of so-and-so? Address? What am I, Google?
Yeah.
You don't have Google Maps. You don't have Bamboo. What do you ask me? So that's the way you value me as a coach, as a mentor, is you want me to give you an address?
Right. No.
I never asked Patrick that question.
Ever.
For me.
Yeah.
And so Patrick will see my question. You'll see my 3 different answers and 3 different strategies on how to overcome it. Then he goes, here's how we need to process it. What's your outcome for number 1? What's your outcome for number 2? What's your outcome for number 3? What's the pattern of success for 1, 2, 3? What's the form of success for 1, 2, 3? Boom.
But you're positioning yourself to be wise before you reach wise counsel.
True. I get it.
And
because if I'm going to get an informed answer, I need to ask an informed question. And so I don't want to waste Patrick's time, because now I sent a message to Patrick, and he's like, okay, now he's got to construct the things to process. Sometimes people get a call, people get a text. Oh, them again.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy to my mentor.
Asshole.
Yeah. when Patrick says, ask me, hey, blah, 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 where you at? Where you at? Where you want me to be at? Right? Like yesterday, I asked you to be on a podcast. Boom, you move things around to be here.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
That's how you know you're rocking with somebody. But why does it have to get to that point though? And I think what age has taught all of us, years have taught all of us, was I think one of the good things I did when I was in my 20s, I started listening to people in their 30s and 40s. Because I want to have a successful career. I want to have a successful family and marriage.
Right.
So I started listening to them because my 20s were all beat up. Like I should be enjoying what I enjoy in my 50s. I should have enjoyed it in my early 40s, not my early 50s. Because I was so prideful and deceitful to myself. We unnecessarily bring hard times onto ourselves simply because we don't ask questions and we think we got it all.
Wow.
Highest level of pride and arrogance, thinking you know everything.
They said the level of question you ask lets you know the level of man you are.
I love it.
Yeah. Powerful.
Good leaders ask great questions.
Yes.
Next topic here. The Guardian introduced a new term, inheritocracy, where wealth isn't earned, it's inherited, and your last name matters more than your hustle.
Wow.
So, combating this by building a new generation of producers, not consumers, workers, not just wishers. That's our solution to it. But I never had a lot of respect. But for example, when I moved my first house in Chicago. Okay. I'm like, how do you guys buy this house? You guys are 23, 24, 25 like me, but how are you guys buying this $500,000 house? How are you guys doing it? I can barely put $100 in my checking account. You guys are buying a house.
Yeah.
Real you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I inherited, mom and dad made a good decision. I can buy a new house today, And so, but that being said, isn't that what we also want for our kids?
Yeah. In that sense.
I like for have my kids to have an inheritance. Mm-hmm. But when we're looking at your last name matters more than your hustle. I want my last name. When people hear Eatmon, they see Eatmon on your kids' jerseys. They're like, oh, I wonder if is that Kirsten Springs? Wow, that's their child. Interesting. Versus just another kid on the team.
Yeah, and you want your kid to feel something about their last name. Like if I go to my kids right now and say, what does Eatmon stand for? They're going to say excellence in everything. So
how you make you said that, I say, suppose we're difference makers.
That, of course. I'm lying to you. That's right. And so it's, to me, it's, yes, the Eatmon last name has wealth, has a lot of access resources within it. You may have the last name, but there's conditions to having access to the resources within it.
Yeah. You
have to do your part.
Yeah.
If you want to have open to the access to your assignment. So I'm with you.
Well, I know a Rockefeller. Oh, I know a Rockefeller. I met him at a veterans event because he's a veteran.
Interesting.
I'm like, are you? His name's Mark. Shout out to Mark Rockefeller. And I'm like, are you a Rockefeller? Like the Rock? He goes, I am. Really? Nice to meet you, man. I've never met a Rockefeller. I've heard so much about your family last name.
Yeah, for sure.
Inheritocracy, right?
Yeah.
There it is. There
it
is. Huh. But he says, no, I'm the broke side of the family. So what
a statement.
Broke side of the family.
What a statement.
Rockefellers are filthy rich. Why are you a broke side of the family? Because my great-grandfather made a decision that disinherited us from the trust.
Decisions have consequences, boy. Your decisions have consequences.
Woo! So think about this guy. Now, granted, he was in the military. Granted, because of his last name, he was able to get some doors open to him, even though he didn't have a financial inheritance. But guess what? He inherited. He inherited a good name.
Yeah.
Most people think it's a good name. I think it's a good name. It's one of the names that built America. He may have been a nasty entrepreneur, but you can't take away anything that Rockefeller did today.
Yeah, everybody's trying to follow his system with the trust and everything, so it makes sense.
The waterfall method, whatever they call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what name are you guys looking to build? If you guys watching this podcast, have you thought about it yet? What name are you looking to build? When people say your last name, does it mean something, or are you just another name?
Oof.
Next segment, the work-life balance conversation is coming up again because obviously people are working a lot longer, a lot harder.
Yeah.
CNBC and Gallup reveal that the working parents that are forever burned out and stressed out and maxed out. more parents are burned out. More parents are stressed out. More parents are maxed out. The dream of having it all is turning into reality of barely holding it together. So, Curtis, what are your thoughts? Because you guys got it all. You guys got a beautiful house here in the Dallas area. You guys are running your own business today. You don't answer to nobody. You answer to your associates. You answer to your clients, but it's not like you have a boss. Is it possible to have it all?
Yes.
Come on.
Yes,
Talk to us.
100%. You know the movie Limitless?
Yeah.
He takes the pill and all of a sudden
And he uses more of his brain.
moves more of his brain,
Okay.
right? And for those that are burnt out, stressed out, you're just not on the right platform. You're underutilizing resources that are available. One of our affirmations is that I'm connected to infinite possibilities.
Yeah. I love that one.
I'm connected to infinite possibilities.
Yeah.
All problems are contribution to my growth, right? So
Yeah.
when I'm saying that, it's automatically my brain is creating highways and pathways for my success, for my future. And then you start thinking about it, it's like, yeah, like I can overcome anything. There's nothing that can stop me. Everything's for my So when I think about this, all I'm thinking about is what are people telling themselves? What is the affirmation that they're saying? Me and Springer on this concept right now about subconscious thinking versus, actually what
Conscious
you're thinking about,
thinking,
conscious thinking, right? So your conscious thinking is 0 to 5 seconds. That's the now,
Yeah.
right? So the only way to change your subconscious is how you change your now. And so
Nice.
our now is 0 to 5 seconds, but your subconscious is 95% of how you operate.
Yeah.
Right. And so most people are subconsciously moving. So when they're burnt out, when they're stressed out, they're subconsciously affirming
Yeah.
that they're that versus with new thoughts, new energy transferring to change the subconscious.
Yeah.
And so do I believe you can have it all? Yes. I think you have a great family. I think you have a great marriage. I think you can have great kids. I think you can have a great business if you want a business, or if you work for someone that's great too, great position.
Yeah.
I think you have great money. I think you could travel the world. I think you could have anything you want. Anything you want to architect, you can architect. You can. Anything you want to architect, you choose
Design
the life
and
you want to
build
live.
it. Yeah.
Yes. Like God created you to what? Solve problems. Right? So I'm literally a co-creator with him.
Amen.
So if you gave me the vision to create something, you don't play with my head. Like you
Yeah.
gave it to me, that means I should have it. This is why when you go to nice neighborhoods or this is what my mom used to do this with me very young. I'm going on a tangent. But she used to always say, if you see it, believe it, you can achieve it. If you see it, you believe it, you can achieve it. You see it, believe it, you can achieve it. And I'm like, okay, all right. That was my affirmation when I was very young. And then, we used to be like broke, right? So like, she's good now, right? But
Mama
like,
Eatmon was up. That's my mom's best friend.
Right?
Yeah.
It really is, right? They
Yeah.
always hang out, right? Golden Girl gloves, right? And so, but my point is like Nissan Polestar, black, with no air conditioning. I'm talking about, this is California, 95 degrees, 98 degrees, black, leather.
Okay.
And like no type of tint. So me and my sister in the back, and the sun's beaming on us. And my mom would, because there was no air conditioning, she would get a cup with ice water and with a rag and just put it on the back of our necks.
Yes, hey,
and put a hat
cool
on
rag.
it. See,
Ah,
cool
so
rag.
funny.
Right. And then she would take us to places like Palos Verdes in California, or, the Palisades, or like these
Yeah.
nice beaches with gated communities and all these different things. And she'll have us walk and touch the plots, the lands, and say, hey, you see the ocean? Hey, one day you can have this, because if you touch it, you can have it. She'll take us to nice restaurants, not even knowing
So
that.
she was expanding your vision.
Exactly.
Good job, Mama
Yeah.
Eatmon.
So she was this position. So I believe that you can have anything you want, and if you can touch it, you can have it. So go experience it.
Dude, I love it. Oftentimes when people ask me about work-life balance, listen, if I'm single today, there is no balance. It's 100% hustle. Don't get involved in a relationship for anything. That was my mistake. A pastor asked me one time, said, Matt, you had this relationship, you brought this girl to church, you brought this girl to church, boom, boom, boom. It seems like, bro, you've got a type. What do you mean I got a type? I said, he goes,
Type is funny.
He goes, stop praying with each other. Whoa, I thought we were supposed to build a life together. Stop praying with you. You need to pray for you to be 100% complete, not to weave yourself into somebody that is incomplete yet.
Wow, that's wise counsel.
And because he goes, Matt, why is it that you always seem to be dating people that you need to feel you need to rescue? I'm like, you don't think she's cute?
Uh-oh.
You don't think she's a good person?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't say that she's not a good person. She needs to be whole. She needs to be 100%. She's broken, bro. You're broken.
Yeah.
And if listen, I often say this. 1 times 1 is 1. Half, 0.5, times half, 0.5, is 0.25. So together, you're actually worse. Woo!
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and by the way, this is a counsel I tell my kids.
Yeah.
Be careful who you date. Be careful, because then you have kids with them,
Ugh.
and they
18 years.
another compounding factors. And so you can't say, well, I'm married, and then break up, and then have kids together, and break up, not together. I said, bro, you made a commitment to be with her. You made a commitment. Now you got to deal with your decisions.
Yeah.
But you walked in that decision because you made a bad decision by walking into it to begin with.
Right.
But that's my thought process. If I'm a young 20, 30-year-old today, I want to make sure that there's an imbalance of perfecting yourself, of being clear about who you are. Now, let's say you're married, and you got to have, man, you cannot have a marriage today, work-life balance, nothing, integration, nothing without God in the middle. God ain't in the middle of that marriage. God, and if you and your wife are not on the same platform, and oftentimes, bro, we see couples in the office, right? They're like, well, I'm not going to listen. My wife don't believe me. My husband don't believe in me. I'm going to think to myself, why doesn't a husband or a wife believe in their own husband or wife?
That's crazy.
Like, why don't you have credibility with the person that you go to sleep with every night? That you integrate your life with, and she or he don't believe in you? And I'm thinking to myself, did you marry the right person, or something happened in the marriage where they no longer believe that you're a person of integrity, saying that when you say something, you follow through? Oh, it's just not one of those things.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying you got to be careful of the promises you keep. If it's one thing, that didn't teach me a lot of things. But one thing I realized, he was respected amongst his friends. His friends honored him. We talk about inheritocracy. I inherited $1 million last name from my dad.
That's it.
Even though financially speaking, it mean nothing. I'm not getting elected to Congress with it. I'm not getting a loan approved because of my last name. I'm not getting an investment because of my last name.
Yeah.
But one thing my dad gave me, $1 million inheritance, $1 billion inheritance, was knowing how powerful that name is. Because every time I walked around, he said, hey, are you that Sapaula kid? I am. Around his friends. You're Del's son. I'm Del's son. Oh, you are his son. I like your dad. I like your dad. He's your you want the bear? Give him a bear. Right? So dad has hello. So hey, Dad, Uncle June said, Uncle Boy, right? Everybody in the Filipino community says Uncle June or Uncle Boy.
Yeah, same thing. Black people do the same thing. Everybody adopted. Everybody just family.
But you can't have it all. I
agree.
100% agree with you.
I agree.
It's just that you got to have yourself in that marriage, in that relationship. You have to be whole. You got to be 100%.
The point of what you're saying about balance is, I don't believe in balance, I believe in harmony, though.
Yeah, integration, harmony.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, we're saying yes. Yeah, I think you can have it all 100%. Oh man, that's good.
Oh, bro. And we asked JoJo. We go qualify for a Maui trip. I said, JoJo, do you regret mom and dad working so hard? Not at all. Not at all. Really? Why not? Listen, there's rich and there's poor. I'd rather be rich. Why, JoJo? He goes, look, we're here. He's 9 years old. He's 10 years old. We're here in Hawaii. And he's not saying it from a cocky perspective. He's saying it from he goes,
it's grateful.
That's exactly what he said. Mom, I'm grateful. I'm not mad. I'm grateful. Boom.
But that's the seeds that it starts early. So you're seeing the harvest of the seeds you guys planted in him.
Yeah.
Cause I even see it with my oldest, she watches, the younger ones when we go out to do workshops or if we're traveling, whatever it is. And, Spring does such a good job of making sure that every person in our family understands you have a role to make sure that the family moves forward.
Yeah.
So like, hey, Maddie, you're going to watch the kids tonight. That's your role, right?
Yeah.
You like your room? Your room is as big as someone's garage right now. You're like, there's a reason for that, right? So I love that. That's a blessing to be able to do that, man. Great father you are.
I mean, and then now he's playing basketball. He's getting tall. He's getting big. Anything he wants to eat, Mom, can you get this? Can you order that? Can I DoorDash it? No problem. Anytime. Right? Anything he wants. Jojo wants a DoorDash. Georgia wants food. Well, I mean, we're having a meal. Yeah. Mom, can I have this? So, in addition to what you're having, can I have this too? Like, kid, look at he's getting it.
Yeah.
DoorDash comes here. I swear we have like a DoorDash, drop-off point right in front of our house.
No, by name at this point. Yeah,
exactly, bro. Now he's working out with professional athletes. Instead of me trying to teach him speed and agility, I have a former linebacker and a tight end of the Packers. Teach them.
How big is that? Because now you could be a dad.
Yeah, right. Without the pressure of having a coach.
Yeah, you don't have to mix it. You can give your opinion here and there, but you can let somebody else beat them up in essence. You know,
I could be a dad. I could be a fan.
Yeah.
You know, let the coaches be the coaches. Who's got the better chance of coaching my kid? Me, who's a wannabe athlete, or the actual pro athlete that played in the game, that earned a contract as a professional athlete? All day, I'm paying you.
Yeah, 100%. But you can provide that with the resources. That's the blessing part.
That's
what you mentioned.
So in moments of imbalance, moments of harmony, temporary sacrifice, permanent happiness, that's what we're after. And it's about compressing time frames too as well. Like I'll share this before we wrap up. I talk about compressing. Entrepreneurship allows me to compress a job that, let's say I'm making $70,000 a year. To compress a 20, 30, 40 year income over 20, 30, 40 years of making $70,000 a year, I can compress as an entrepreneur the next 3 to 5. So I can get my life back. I get my time back.
Right.
Or for people who are older, they can recoup what they lost. They can recoup the savings they never saved. They can recoup their time with their family and friends that they never, and the children they never had really time to spend with.
Right.
Either way, you're doing that because you're creating value to your proposition in the beginning. You're creating value in the world. So any final thoughts as we wrap up, brother? I appreciate you as a guest here tonight on this podcast, brother.
Man, back to you. Of course, thank you for having me again. But to your point of value, you know, I think everyone has value in them. And if your current audience is not, again, giving you the understanding that you're providing value, I encourage you to change your audience.
Boom.
You know,
that's why maybe some of you guys are going to come to Dallas into our Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event. Change your network, you increase and improve your net worth. That being said, there's a heavy podcast here today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you found value with this podcast, please make sure you hit subscribe. If some of you are willing to connect, you want to connect to Curtis Eatmon, we'll put all his links here in the descriptions below too as well. And just make sure that, remember, you weren't born to be average. You're born to lead. You're born to build a legacy. You're born to become a faith-made millionaire. Let's go. That being said, from Dallas, Texas, on behalf of Curtis Eatmon, I'm your money smart guy. And until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today.